and welcome to this Restore and Recover series. This series is Yin Yoga and Restorative Yoga inspired series, and each day is going to be a muscle group or a series of muscle groups targeted, and it's going to be slower pace, it's going to be short duration, so it's a little bit different than my traditional yoga flow videos. If y'all are interested in more of a longer form, make sure to check out those videos on my channel. If you do have some props or some things around your house that you can grab in place of these props, I'm using a bolster, but perhaps you can use some pillows and also some yoga blocks or some heavy, thick books. So we're gonna get right into our first pose, and as always, it's gonna look exactly the same even without the props. And today we're gonna go ahead and start with our yoga blocks today by our sides, and we're gonna go ahead and come into our seated position. You can feel free to crisscross your legs here, or you can be in a kneeling position even, but I like to be more in my crisscross position because it's a little bit better for my knees and how I feel in this pose. But we're gonna go ahead and set up, so even if you don't have the blocks, it's gonna look exactly the same. We're gonna start with our lateral stretch, inhaling at the prep at the bottom and then exhaling to release to the side. Now, if you are wanting to take this up a notch, you're gonna go ahead and place that opposite hand, the elbow and the palm down with the forearms onto the floor, deeply releasing here. And another option, if you like to take this even further than this one, y'all can feel free to bend that top arm and leaning more deeply into that side. And perhaps if you like, you can again take a block or some surface like a block, and you can hold this position. You can even bind the fingers together if you'd like, if that's your calling today. But either way, we're gonna stay on this first side, whichever variation you might be in today. And again, if the head and the neck does start to bother you, you shouldn't be yanking on that head and the neck. You should go ahead and place your hands, really cradling your hands behind your head, gently holding it into position. And again, if it does feel a little intense today, you can feel free to take the eye gaze down towards that block or that arm on the floor and just resting here, and perhaps closing the eyes here and getting really deep into that side stretch. And you might notice that your hips and your legs might want to come up as we get deeper and deeper into the time. So we do hold this for a little bit longer time so your body can really feel the benefits and the nourishment of the stretch and the releasing process. And if you do find yourself the hips and the knees coming up, feel free to come out of the pose a little bit less deeply, and you can find your, again, hips down and your knees down here. And you can even use like a weighted blanket or anything if you do have something. You can even use the heavy book or block to just kind of anchor the opposite knee and the hips down in case you do feel some kind of a movement or lifting on the opposite knee area here. A nice deep inhale through the nose and deep exhalation out through the mouth here. If you have your eyes closed, really visualizing all the muscle groups intensely, deeply releasing here. With every breath, feeling a little bit more space for those muscles to really nourish, to release, and recover. You really start to feel your deep lateral lines slowly opening to the sky or the ceiling, wherever you may be. And we'll be here for a couple more moments before switching to the other side. Spending the last few moments on the side to really deeply open through the lat line here. And on your next exhalation, slowly, if you had your fingers bind, unbind your fingertips and bringing that top arm back into the side and going ahead and switching sides. Again, either using the block or without the block or book, and coming deeply onto the other side. If you do need to use an anchor for the opposite knee and the leg, feel free to take it now. And again, finding yourself into a bind or just simply cradling your head with your arms here. It's almost like your arm is just there for a nice pillow, a cushion. Again, if you find yourself coming forward and pulling on your head and the neck, just coming out of it a little bit less, right? Just releasing that top arm. You can even do this number without fully bending in the back, but just cradling your arm over your head and just finding a gentle opening and whatever feels comfortable for the head and the neck. Again, taking your eye gaze down to the floor to release some tension. If you do start to feel any neck tension here, feel free to close the eyes here and really deeply melting onto the second side here. Although we are doing a deep lateral stretch and release for our chest or sidelines, you should also start to feel your hips opening here if you are in a cross-legged position. With more time in this position, you should really start to feel a deep opening and a sensation that we typically don't feel in just a traditional static hold stretch. Because static hold stretch, you may feel a little bit of a deep release, but more so with more time, you should feel your body slowly resisting any kind of tension that you might feel and really just melting and gently, slowly opening into areas that we typically don't release in static stretches, and just a deep form of total relaxation of the muscle groups here. Beautiful. And perhaps noticing any differences and or similarities between the sides. Not judging your body between the sides today, but simply just perhaps noticing some differences or similarities. Last few moments here on this side before we switch to the next position here. Nice deep inhale through the nose and deep exhalation, full and complete exhalations, letting any negativity out from the body and the mind. And on your next inhalation, a deep and full inhalation, only letting the positivity and good things come into our body and nourish our body. Beautiful. And on your next exhalation, unbinding the fingers if you had it binded, and bringing that hand back into the center position. And let's go ahead and recenter ourselves. So we're still going to be using the props here, or no props if you like. And we're gonna go ahead, if you are using the prop, we're gonna take our bolster, we're gonna go ahead and place it on your back. Again, if you don't have this, no worries, you're just gonna be on the floor without the bolster. From here, we're gonna go ahead and keep your knees bent as we recline back onto the floor or the bolster. If you do have the bolster, we'll be just placing our mid-back and our upper back onto the bolster here, and you're gonna automatically feel a nice deep release for the front line of the chest and the sides and the arms at the same time. But from here, if you'd like to take it deeper, you can feel free to extend into the legs here and really allow your hips and your legs to fall out here. Now, if you do have the blocks or books or whatever y'all like to use, you can go ahead and come into a deeper extension and release for the hips and the knees. You can feel free to go into a butterfly again without the blocks. It'll look like this, just opening your knees to the side here with the feet and the toes together. And again, if you have the blocks, option to keep the blocks in a more tall position. So if your hips are very, very tight and you find that you cannot go as deep for the release of the hips, you can feel free to keep that block tall, or if you'd like to get a little bit deeper and have just a support for the knees, then feel free to keep the block or the book short and keeping just as a support underneath your knees and your hips here. Regardless of what props you're using today or no props, feel free to bring the palms up towards the sky and feel free to close the eyes here whenever you're comfortable. Deeply feeling now the front of the chest and the arms and our limbs deeply releasing in this position. If you do find any neck tension here, make sure to bring your chin in towards your chest and really finding a nice little stretch in the back of your head and the neck to really prevent any kind of pain or any kind of sharp tension behind the neck area here. Really allowing your body to nourish in this position. And this position may not feel as intense in the very beginning, but with more and more time and more breath, nice deep inhales and complete exhalations, you may feel more of a deep release and sensation with the body and the chest and the front line and the heart center here, really allowing the heart to open up. If you feel anything heavy on your heart and your chest today, see if you can let go of whatever you hold close to your heart. It can be something with work, or it can be a personal matter between relationships, or even just with yourself, trying to release any kind of heaviness that lies in your heart today, that you can gently expand and release away from the heart center so that you may feel lighter, you may feel more restored. The heart does take a lot of stress in our daily lives. And see if you can open up the heart away from all that stress and things you may hold onto your heart today. Feeling a deep sensation of inhalation, filling up the front line of your body. And on your deep exhalation, feeling that whole breath nourished in your body, and release and let go. So next nourishment of the inhalation can fill again your heart center. And we'll stay here for the last few moments before transitioning to the next position. Your next exhalation, if you had your knees open, feel free to close them now. And if you do have the blocks, make sure to keep them away from the midline, because we are going to roll to that one side, gently rolling off the bolster. If you were on the bolster, or even not, we're coming on that one side for just a moment and coming out of the floor for just a second. And we're gonna go ahead and come into our sideline. So now we're gonna go ahead, and I'm on my left side. My left arm is going to go behind me in a nice extension position. Now from here, you can feel free to keep the knees bent as we prepare. So here we're gonna go ahead and bring that arm again, extended behind you. And already, if you like, you can bring your head all the way to the floor. You might already feel a nice release from that shoulder and the arm and the sidelines today. And if this is you today, you can just feel free to hold yourself in this position, keep your knees bent and that top arm in front of you so you're supporting yourself. And you can use that arm to either go a little bit deeper, so you can push into the floor a little bit more to bring yourself off of that shoulder if you do feel any kind of tingliness.
feel free to take an ease off of that shoulder by bringing more tension into that front arm or the palm. And if not, if you feel great, you can also go ahead and lean a little bit more back. So bringing your body weight a little bit more back and almost like you're being pulled back with that arm, and really bringing that arm behind your low back. You can even thread it through and bring your fingertips to meet on the side or the front here, so that you're gently and slowly opening to the back here. So that gives a little bit deeper form of that shoulder and arm stretch with the lat line. And for the legs, if you are taking this more intense version, you can feel free to either keep the legs extended. You can do kind of like a crisscross situation where the top leg is more behind, the front leg is more forward, or you can feel free to bend that top leg all the way to the floor for the leg, and just keep it bent here and see if you can go a little bit deeper by opening through the chest and the front line here. Beautiful. So whichever position you may be in, feel free to keep the eyes closed. And again, if you need to ease off the practice, feel free to come into the first position with the knees together and bring the top arm in front of you. Taking a nice deep form of breath now. This is our third position, so it should feel very, very nice and open. And your mind should be slowly, slowly opening and not thinking about too much. Trying to have a clear mind for this practice today, for the remainder of these couple moments that we have together, and for yourself. Taking a deep relaxation for this side today. Really feeling your fingertips, your shoulder, your legs, your chest, and your heart. With time, gently opening and opening deeply. And feeling a sense of calmness with every breath, and stillness of the mind with the breath as well. Seeing if you can take away any tension, if you have any tension in the neck and the jaw, the chin. Feel free to keep the jaw a little bit more open, the mouth slightly open, to release any facial tension that you may have. Trying to, with every breath, release a little bit more your facial features, and coming into a total relaxation, including the face today. We'll stay here for a couple more moments. Last chance to get a little bit deeper in this side. And on your next exhalation, if you had your hand behind you, feel free to bring it forward. And if you had your knees open, feel free to bring them together now, and gently with that front palm pushing up and away from the floor. And let's go ahead and slowly now switch to the other side. This is our last position today that we'll be doing. So again, taking that now right arm behind you, extension, and feeling free to stay in this first position where we're still adjusting with that arm forward or backwards to find a nice release for that shoulder in the bottom with the arm. But again, if you'd like to take it deeper, feel free to extend the legs or bending that top arm, leg, and the arm comes back, and gently opening a little bit deeper in that front line so you can really feel that shoulder, your back, and your lat and your arms gently releasing here. It is our last position of the day, so really focusing on nourishing the body in these last few moments. Taking time for yourself and thanking yourself for showing up, for this practice today. Thanking your body for all of its hard work that it does on a daily basis. See if you can find more space, more opening during these sessions so that when you do need to perform in our workouts, in our heavy lifting, or heavy everyday lifestyle tasks, your body can feel restored, calm, and open to be able to do the things that we do on a daily and consistent basis, and to do it even better since our body is healing, our body is nourished, and our body is deeply, deeply relaxing. Our muscles need some love too sometimes, and our mind. These restorative classes can help with not just our body, but how you also feel. The daily heavy tasks that you may be doing may not just be a physical task, but it can also be a deep mental task that really affects our mental health sometimes. So taking these moments to really relax, even the mind. And we'll take a couple more moments in this position. Last chance to get deep into this side. And on your next exhalation, if you had your top arm behind you and your legs extended, feel free to bring them now back into that starting position and pressing back into the palm on the floor and gently coming out of the side. Coming back, you can even keep your eyes closed for this one. Coming back in our seated position, you can feel free to keep the legs crisscrossed here. Keeping the eyes closed for just a moment that feels comfortable. Taking a moment for yourself and thanking yourself for showing up today. I hope that your front line and your chest and your arms have felt nourished, and I hope to see y'all in day 2, and have a wonderful day, y'all. Bye, y'all.